Hello and welcome back to the Fox Strength Performance YouTube channel. I am Taylor Fox, and we are once again at Power Build Warrington for a pretty freaking heavy squat day, and naturally started it off with some sled drag bear crawls. So I really like bear crawls in the same way that I like burpees until you start doing them. They're pretty great, and then it's like, oh my god, but I had no interest or really the space to do a really long distance bear crawl. I have done them like kind of back and forth in between sets on giant sets, so I decided to do this thing of pulling the sled and then unhook the sled and do the backwards bear crawl. And I feel like I really like this, and I've continued to incorporate it a little bit into my training, and I really feel like it has that kind of like stimulus of feeling like a truck pull. So I like that, and I really would like to improve my positioning and get better with truck pulls. So this is footage from a separate training day, but I hooked up 330 on top of the sled, which I think the sled's like a little over 100 pounds. And this, like, you really feel like that pull and like how you're driving low with the hips during a truck pull. Like, you really feel that during this, and my hips honestly could be a little bit lower at the end here, but a nice cue with this too, at least with the Rogue harness, having that on, you feel the strap like kind of against your hips, against your pelvis as if your hips rise. So it's kind of a cue at the same time to keep the hips down, and a little bit better technique. And then we got into the SSB pin squat with chains. So all I have available, I just have 80 pounds of chains in the garage, and then bring them in here. I've thought about buying another set, but at the moment I feel like I make do with this. So 80 pounds of chains, and then I just kept working up on the SSB. So I think this is around 500 pounds right now because it's 20 heavier than a normal barbell. So like 505, and then I got into my hip circle walks. So I really like these in between sets of squats. I don't feel like they're too taxing, but I do feel like it activates my hips a little bit better, which is definitely a goal of doing giant sets. Because I'm like, oh, I'm going to be fatigued from doing this, but I'm not, because I've been, pushing those sets and doing the work capacity stuff, and then I get back to squats, and I'm like, I actually feel a lot better after doing that, and like hip flexors and ventral glutes feel much more engaged. So that was a good one, and yeah, I definitely felt good today on these squats. Obviously, some will point out like it's a pretty high pin. I definitely wasn't looking for a deep squat today. I was more trying to overload the top because I've been doing a lot of different squats that have been getting down there and doing pauses on the box or pauses in the hole. Like the week after this, I went back and did front squats, doing front squats for the past 2 weeks since this. So really just trying to overload the top here for that. And this was the other exercise for the giant set, adapted from full contact twists, which would be on the landmine, but I'm not setting up the landmine, so I'll just do them with a band. So just trying to pull away from that attachment point. And I always, I feel like it's a pretty good rotational exercise for my purposes. In Strongman, any rotary movement is kind of going to be like that, where you're like touching a line and just trying to spin back and be efficient, keep a hold of the implement, and keep moving in the other direction to get as much distance or the quickest run possible. And then I did a decreasing rep count on kettlebell swings, so I think I started with 8 or 10, and then by the last round of this, I was down to 4 reps. And I definitely have been feeling some stuff in my hamstring. And then the squat that I did the day before recording this tweaked my quad a little bit. I have ordered a cuff from Slingshot only for my elbows, but also have one for my thigh, and I would really like it to come. I know it's shipped, so hopefully it's here soon. But I think that'll be better than wrapping the knee wrap on my leg, because it seems like I just keep continuing to have issues with this leg. And honestly, just putting a little compression over it seems to solve the issue, or at least allow me to train. Not to say that compression is the solution to everything, but it certainly has helped me. And you always hear the stories of Chuck Vogelpohl just looking like a mummy, showing up to train, maybe a little too aggressive and irresponsible, but I need to train, so that's what I'm doing. And this was like 628 maybe, so I was like, okay, that felt good. I'm gonna go 660, which was pretty cool to hit 300 kilos on this movement. And I definitely, for this last one and then the negative, felt like a little dizzy, like it was a lot to unrack and walk out. And I kind of just give out here towards the pins. But I'm like, let's just stand up. And some people are like, that's crazy upper back strength. And that's really what it is right there at that sticking point at the top. Just like your upper back needs to be able to hold on and maintain an upright posture, because that SSB is like freaking kicking you forward like crazy. So what I did, and I feel like it's a great movement to build strength there in the upper back as well as the legs, and just overload the top end here. So I had a good time doing this, and here, like with this setup, it allows me to do a negative as well. So I really wanted to just feel something really, really heavy, obviously trying to have some carryover to yoke walk and other movements that are really heavy like this. So I just wanted to be able to walk out, hold a heavy weight like this, and then go down as slow as I could, even though in the end I got a little, dizzy, overwhelmed by the weight, and just kind of collapsed the pins and fell over. And this dude doing step downs was like, okay, and then just continued to do step downs. And he was like, I got you on video, or like I got a video of the rig as you fell. Like the whole thing was shaking and collars were just popping off. So that was fun. And honestly, just after all that, wrap up, just did some sets of 20 on belt squat. So really trying to work up the belt squat weight. So this should be 4 plates aside, which I've been doing for some of the other like harder finishers, doing the 4 down, 4-second pause, 4 up. So I'm like, let's just bang it out for some sets of 20. And I think a goal here of this training program was to just use belt squat a little bit more, and I feel like I've been able to incorporate it in some creative ways that have been pretty good, and I'm happy to have it here at this gym and incorporate it more. But until next time, keep lifting those heavy weights and hold strong.